right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a very special guest, and you might recognize him because he's a repeat offender. This is his second time on the show. We have the amazing Ryne. Welcome back.
Hey, how are you?
I am spectacular. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Wonderful. Happy to have you on the show. So tell us, how did you get into singing?
I started singing as a young kid in the church, and just from there, just different stage plays, and just from there, recording as well.
Wonderful. So, what really inspired you to get into singing? Because I feel like that's such an interesting profession to choose.
Right. I think it's a passion. I think it's just something that you have to want from a young age, or just like the love of expressing yourself. So, I mean, I saw a number of projects as a kid that just inspired me and just made me feel like, oh, that's something I want to do too. So, yeah, that's pretty much where it came from.
You're passionate about it. We love it. And, happy to see you back years later. I'm like, okay, so he means it. He means business. This is what he wants to do.
Right.
So tell us about your new album, Better Late Than Never.
Yeah. So Better Late Than Never is available now on all streaming platforms. Better Late Than Never is a project that I've been working on for some time. It deals with it's a lot of songs and that have been done over and over and have finally found their way to a project. I've been working on it for some time this year, and it's an album about. I like to say that it's a hopeful romantic album. It's a love album. It's an album about not giving up on love and the hope of life in your art. So I really hope that people relate to it.
I saw I'm sure you saw me looking down for a second. I don't want you to think I was being rude. I wanted to pull this up, guys. I purchased this album. You're definitely
Appreciate
going
you.
to really love it. Now, my favorite song is Superpowers. What specifically
Wow.
inspired you to write this song?
Superpowers. I believe in magic. Superpowers is just a song that really just is about, I'm sorry, like I'm just blown away because that's actually not normally people's favorite song. So it's like I'm glad that you like that. No,
But
Superpowers is
I have
just a
some
song.
different tastes, so.
I appreciate that. I like that. I like that. No, Superpowers is just a song for anybody trying to realize about purpose, in a sense that, like, your greatest power actually can be to love, is to find out the generosity, the gift of kindness, the gift of patience is all just like a real superpower in the world if you can hold on to it. And, like, listen, I'm not like perfect at it or anything like that, but it's definitely something that you can use to change the world, like, because in the bridge there's a lyric that says that if it starts with you and me, then we will show them how it's supposed to be. You and I are in control because we found love. It's the superpower. So yeah, it's just a song about how the importance of love and how that is your superpower.
All right, nice. So, what is your favorite song off the album?
I'm so, oh, I love that question because most artists are just, oh, it's all of them. But to be completely honest with you, like, Better Late Than Never is my favorite song I've ever written in my life, honestly. It just what I did with it, the vocal production of it, from what I did, just lyrically what I wrote about it, because what it stands for is everybody who's ever told you that you can't do something and you believe them for a certain period of your life, they don't get that power anymore. It took me a while to get to this point, but I'm here, and it's like, no matter where you are on life's journey, you have the ability and the power to be the best you that you can be, and never let somebody tell you because you got there late, because you arrived to the party late, or because you got on the wrong train and you didn't arrive on time. You are on time, and even if you are late, hey, it's better late than never, because there's so many people that live in spaces of regret that don't do what they want to do because they let other outside entities stop them. And this song is about just doing it anyway, no matter how long it takes, because it's better I'm late than never or ever. It will be great. I'm better than ever.
We love To hear it. And what is
Yeah.
your second favorite song on the album?
Oh, okay. Uh, what is my second favorite? Because I really, I like it. Right now, I would say it's excited. I really like excited and how it just has this like cool laid back but still kind of club feeling to it. And it's not like a deep song or anything. It's just about, you know, seeing somebody on the dance floor for the first time, making a connection with them and, you know, seeing where it goes because that person, you know, obviously makes you excited and whatever else you want to put to the imagination, but it's a fun song. So yeah, I would say excited.
All right. So, what do you think about the state of music today?
Hmm. Um, are you saying the music industry or just music in
Yes.
general?
Because remember, we had spoke on the phone and we were talking about, how there's no artist development, and now
Right.
people tend to get famous, but they don't really have that sort of talent to back it up.
Right. So I think where music is right now, it's like more important to be popular than talented. And where it's where yeah, but you know, unfortunately it is still an industry, so I kind of understand the idea that popularity does equal profit, but the problem is we're not looking at longevity profit anymore. That's the reason why we don't see Tina Turner, Michael Jackson, Prince, you know, a Tony Bennett who just at 95 sold out Radio City Music Hall after a 60 70 year career. You know, it's very hard to see that again because we don't have people looking into artists the way building artists and developing artists the way that they used to in the past. And I don't think that artists, not some do probably, but I don't think that there's a huge level of artists that know how to even uh, develop themselves by themselves or getting a part of a team that helps them to develop the way that they used to in the past. That's why we're looking at so many people who they can't even, you know, I don't want to say this like talking about them, but it's like, you know, they're not finishing their tours. They're really overwhelmed. They can't, you know, complete the shows the way like some people are like out of breath. Whereas when you're looking at a lot of artists from yesteryears, their job was to make those artists look effortless when they got out there on stage and make them look like it was nothing, you know. Whereas a lot of artists today, it's just not the same. And it's because of this like internet building place where it's just like, you know, standing behind a computer screen and a cell phone is a lot different than the work that it took, I guess, to be TLC, Destiny's Child, Boys to Men, like, you know, like these artists from the 90s and back, or to Temptations, or even going back even further than that. It's like they went through like 2 years before the world even saw them. They might have even had a deal. So I just think that there's a lack of that development. And I also think that there's a lack of true um love for the art. I think some people are just here for, unfortunately, the popularity and the money, and they soon find out that that's not everything.
Well, I actually agree with you. I went to a school of the arts, and one of the things that they had us do, if you wanted to be a singer, they had you work out and sing at the same time. So I
Yeah.
definitely know what you're talking about artists being out of breath, because I'm like, I feel like that was like one of the basic exercises that they
Yeah.
had us do. And now I'm watching people huffing and puffing
And that's
on
if they're singing
stages.
live.
Yeah.
That's if they're even singing live, because so many of them are just doing a like a pre-check, which I don't think there's anything wrong with, I guess. Like, but you know, it, that wasn't tolerated back in the 70s and stuff like that. These people were singing live.
I understand what you're saying. You being a 90s baby, I'm a 90s baby too,
Hmm.
but you're
Right.
part of like the last class. You're part of the last class who understood that, hey, listen, you have to do X, Y, and Z as an artist. You can't be
Hmm.
out here huffing and puffing on stage.
Right.
So I think that's great that you still have that, because you're part of like the last wave.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Hopefully it'll come back because I think that the industry is slowly seeing that there is a lack of, you know, well, that not having artist development is becoming a hindrance. But I just don't know like in what capacity, because I don't know if it benefits the labels anymore to create an artist from scratch and try to build them up. They're really just like find somebody with a popularity like
Microwaving it,
yeah,
yeah.
microwaving it quick and burn out. It's all about like an algorithm and stuff like that. I really get concerned that the record labels are not caring about the well-being of music like they used to.
And you and I, we actually did an interview years ago. I think it was about like 8 years ago. Wow. And
Wow.
now here we are again. So how do you feel about the development of new apps? New apps like a
Oh.
TikTok, new apps like all these
Hmm.
apps that are actually helpful to artists. Sometimes can
I
be detrimental, but
Right,
hopefully
that's what I was getting ready to
helpful.
say. I think they can be a blessing and a curse, honestly. I think that the blessing is they're giving people these opportunities that we've never had before. They're putting us in front of people that, we never had the opportunity to do before without a machine sort of like pushing us. And I think that that's a gift, but I think that the curse can become when your mind is just like based off of, well, what is the algorithm, like when you're just so like I've got to get this, and like the idea of like if I didn't get enough likes they hate me or they don't like me, or we're looking at like what is it, depression at an all-time rate. And I really think that a lot of that has to do with the misuse of what social media is. But again, like there's a lot of pros to it as well, like how it can just open up doors and connect you with some amazing people all around the world. I mean, it was a blessing to us throughout the pandemic to give us spaces. Clubhouse was a really cool space that I enjoyed throughout the pandemic, that wasn't here probably around the time when we first had our first interview. So no, it's been really cool. You just have to be aware and sure of yourself so that you don't fall into like a trap when it comes to those things.
Absolutely. And while you're mentioning Clubhouse, definitely come over to Fanbase, Black
Mm,
owned. I think it's nice when people who have their talent come over and they can connect with other people. And social media is great. That's how I met you.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, I think you only live one state over from me, but we've never met in real life
I
before.
know, I know.
I'm like, how is that possible? You literally are like a train ride away.
I know, I know. We've got to change that. I'm pretty sure probably something in the new year is going to happen, and we'll make that happen.
So tell me, how did you meet Latangela Newsom?
I says, yeah, I met Latangela through it's so funny. She was on a Facebook. She had like just started like a Facebook or something, and I guess like just the way the settings were, she didn't realize that she accidentally put her phone number out on there. And I like it was just like divine timing because I just happened to be looking up like the Where Are They Now from people of Taina. I think maybe if people do remember our last interview, they know that I was a big fan of Taina. And I just happened to, which was an awesome TV show on Nickelodeon. It's on YouTube right now. We would love to see that come back. Shout out to Nickelodeon and
Yes, we
everybody else
would.
involved with that.
Yes, we would. Absolutely.
Uh, but yeah, I just happened to be looking up the acts, and her name came up with the Facebook page, and I was just like, nah, like there's no way that this is her. But like me just being inquisitive and curious, I just still like called the number, and just like when I heard her answer the phone, like I was just like, oh my God, like this is really her. As many times as I watched the show, I know what her voice sounds like. And I was just like, hi, Latangela. Like, and she's like, yeah, who's this? Like, and but she was actually really sweet about it. She was confused, but she was really sweet about it. And surprisingly, she sat on the phone for like 30 minutes just talking about, okay, I gotta figure this out. I gotta check out what I did, because I'm glad it was you and not somebody crazy who called me. But no, she's really cool. And it's so funny because you would think that her character would make her seem like maybe she was this crazy mean person, and she's nothing of the sort. She's a very a very cool person to be around and hang with, and very down to earth.
What's so interesting about you saying that you unlocked a core memory. There's actually an episode of Taina where Kelly Rowland was on it, and
Yes.
everybody thought she was a diva because that's what her character played on
Hmm.
television. See, we have to have We have to have this show come back, and we have to have you on the show too. If any Nickelodeon producers are seeing this, we the people would like to see Sean on the show. Okay, let's make this
Your
happen.
boy is
Everybody's talking
here. Your
about,
boy is here is ready.
bringing back Victorious. I'm like, no, bring back Taina. Everything
Yeah,
else
like
is
let's
getting.
bring back the original because like let's just keep it 100% real. Victorious is like I don't want to say a knockoff, but it's like somewhat of a remake or reimagined idea of Taina. Like that's all that show is.
Yes, and whenever I hear people say that, there was actually, I forgot where I was, but there was a Nickelodeon trivia, and they were talking about the first School of the Arts on Nickelodeon, and they had put Victorious as the answer, and I'm like, let me tell you something, that is the wrong
Mm-mm.
answer, okay? As
No,
somebody who's been watching Nick for a long time, I'm like, that is the wrong answer.
wrong answer.
I know some people are like, oh, it's been like 20 years. I'm like, well, they brought back like Full House and all these other shows that are even older, so I
Yeah.
don't see any reason why not.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I let's just keep hope alive. I'll just say that. Let's just keep hope alive.
So, how are things going in your acting career?
You know what? Acting has been on hold just a little bit. I think specifically because of the pandemic for me, because I was in the space of trying to really create some things for myself, writing some pilots, working with some different teams, and some things kind of like fell through. But I am looking forward to um a new direction with acting next year and trying to bring, the music to the table along with some of the acting. So I've been in contact with a few directors who are working on some things and how we're going to collaborate because these days not to say that I'm not going to work under somebody else, but I really like artist independence right now. I want to do so much as much as I can for myself.
I actually highly encourage that. I like it when
Mm,
people are in control of their music, because what happens when you start working for other people is that their vision is not your vision, and they
mm-hmm.
end up changing some of the words of your songs, or have you
Mm,
collaborate with somebody that never in life you would ever collaborate with,
right,
but maybe
exactly.
simply because they're popular they want you to collaborate with them. So I completely understand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wonderful. So are there any artists that you would like to collaborate with while we're on this topic?
Um, hmm. I mean, there's probably a lot more artists, like, because I'm a person who listens to a lot of like older stuff. Right now, I wouldn't mind. I mean, it would be hard because he's a major artist, but I think like Charlie Puth actually, like, because I do a lot of like pop music and I think, but he also has like this R&B flair too that I would love to put into my music as well. So I would say right now, like I really like Charlie Puth. I'm really into that like level of pop music, and I think me and him would actually come up with something really cool. That's the first person I can think of off the top of my head who I would love to collaborate with.
I love R&B music. Unfortunately, people say R&B is dead. Do you think that it is?
Okay, so again, like I always want to be specific about what people mean when they say R&B is dead. Like if you mean R&B is dead, whereas is it celebrated in the industry? Yeah, because what I just feel like I don't see when I'm looking at top 40, I don't see that many R&B songs sitting at the top anymore. I think there are some independent artists in R&B that are still making some incredible music um for the genre, but they're not embraced like so much of the other music. And I don't know how that's going to change. I always like to tell people that it's like the the public always has the power. It's like if you don't believe that R&B is dead, support your favorites and really show those numbers so that you know the powers that be, not that you really need radio these days, but it's like so that radio, so that other entities and commercialize place channels that kind of push music to a next level. will be able to put that type of music back in the forefront like it was in the early 2000s and the 90s and stuff like that, because it's just like, no, but I mean, no, I don't know if I, yeah, I know, it kind of is dead to me. But but it's living in smaller independent ways. I just don't think that it's living in a major way anymore.
Inspires you in your career?
Um, I'm really inspired by my friends, my other friends that are artists and performers. I've been blessed enough to have a lot of people who have worked in the industry in the past, and I've looked to them. So just like actually friends and family members.
I'm so happy that you said that because you just unlocked another memory in my mind of
Okay.
Issa Rae when she talked about the importance of networking across and us valuing our fellow artists who are on the same level as us. So I'm so happy that you gave that answer because I feel like there's so much power in being inspired by somebody who's on the same journey as you.
I think that's important, especially because as in my earlier days in my career, I think I was like, oh, like I have to be like Chris Brown. I have to be like Chris Brown. I have to be like Michael Jackson. Somebody who's like really, really big. And it's like, well, you can't necessarily look at them right now. You can, but it's like, let's not forget the machine that these people have behind them, these major deals, these major brands and investors and things like that that are behind these artists to really make them be who they are today. And I think sometimes you need to look at people that are a little bit more obtainable at that moment as you grow. So, there are some artists that may, only have 15,000 followers, but but they live in your home city. You can get to their show. You don't have to pay $500 to sit at their concert at the big stadium in your city. You can actually see them at a small club and you can reach out to them. You maybe can collab with them. So it's like, you know, I started to look at people who were just like me in order to say like how can we rise together and be hold each other accountable for our
Wait, can you
our
pause for a
actions.
second?
Hmm.
Wait. Bring your hand back up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like he's single. All right, make his inbox look alive. Make his inbox look alive, folks. All right, the next time you come around, okay, I want to hear some wedding announcements.
Oh gosh.
All right, we're gonna make it happen for you. You know, I make a lot of things happen. I make interviews happen. I make weddings happen. Okay, I'm like the
Okay.
local Cupid amongst people. So we're gonna make it happen. Don't you
Wow. Okay. Okay.
worry. All right, wonderful. But I think it's so wonderful that you're still pursuing your art because right now I feel like is the time for the rise of independent artists. And I
Hmm.
feel like you have all these tools available. So let me show them the album again, ladies and gentlemen, because I really want you guys to get this. Better late than never. And do you have any parting words?
Just don't give up on yourself and keep believing, because no matter where you are on life's journey, you're worth it and you're valued. Better late than never in stores right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. And do you want to tell them where they can follow you on social media? Because you know you have a name change since
I did.
our last interview, so that's important too.
Right. Well, more so just the spelling. So you can find me on all platforms. Sean Ryan, Sean. Ryan spelled Ryne. So you can find me on all platforms underneath that name. It might be two E's on Twitter though, but IG, Instagram, Pinterest, all of that is, just Sean Ryan, SeanRyne.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show,
Thank
and
you
I
so
look
much for
forward
having me.
to our next interview because I love hearing about developments from independent artists.
Yes, thank you.
All right, have a wonderful day.
You as well.